All right, so we're gonna get into hip flexion, pails and rails, and I'm gonna be in a lying position. So again, just like every other video, I like to talk about position because I feel like you know, it's really important to start in a good position in order to gain the most out of you know, your exercise and out of the reps. So again, I'm gonna be in a supine, so just really that's a kind of a silly way for saying in a lying position. So I always like to think, just because most people, you know, we tend to be anteriorly tilted at the hips. So what's going to help with that and a good position between the hips and the spine is having a slight bend in the knee. So you can see that I'm not fully extended here. As soon as I do that, my hips start to do this, right, and rotate forward. So I want to have a slight bend right in that knee, okay? So heels lightly touching the ground, and I'm actually creating force into the floor, not a crazy amount, but just enough to stabilize. And then I'm gonna be passively bringing my hip up into flexion, okay? So up towards my chest, right? You can have a foam roller or a pillow here to kind of support your neck, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna be here, right? So I'm gonna hold this passive stretch for, you know, anywhere from 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And then from there, I'm gonna start pushing, right? And I'm gonna act as if I'm in a leg press. So I'm acting as if I'm doing this, okay? I'm creating resistance with my hands. Right? Working up to about 70% effort, right? And then from there, I'm gonna start to pull my knee up towards my chest even more actively. So what I'm thinking about doing is pushing into my hand here. Keeping the abs tight, right? Soft knee, driving that heel into the ground to give myself some stability. And then pulling myself again and holding that passive stretch for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And then I'm gonna start that second round working up to 80, 90, 100% effort. Remember, that closing angle is what we want to watch out for. If there's any shooting pain, right, we want to back up that range of motion, create our tension in a place where we're not experiencing that pain. But now, right, I'm taking what is usually a weak muscle for most people in the hip flexors, and we're strengthening that end range. So imagine yourself at the bottom of a squat position, okay? So that's where that's gonna come into play. The more strength and integrity that you have, right, at the hip, and especially the hip flexor, the less that your hips are going to be shooting back like you would in an RDL or a kettlebell swing or a deadlift, and you're gonna be able to really own that squat, and you're gonna be able to pull yourself down and push yourself out of that bottom position smoothly without relying on bone. You're gonna be able to use your muscles to support, right, your end ranges, okay? And that's ultimately what we want. So that is the lying hip flexion, pails and rails.